Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for attending the last press conference of the day. A couple of notes for you guys. Please take your pictures. They're going to be standing here for you. Once I give you 1 minute sign, if you don't mind going to the sides, going to the back, remember to leave some space for the volunteers. You guys asking your questions, if you please don't mind standing up and then announce who you work for. Quick reminder that press conferences are being broadcast live at bell.ca/movie lover and also available on your smartphone, only on Bell Network. I would very much like to welcome on stage the director and the actors of the film Potiche and moderator Robert Gray.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference for Potiche, which is having its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival 2010. We're thrilled to have three of France's greatest representatives of the cinema, its greatest stars, in front of the camera and behind it. I'll introduce our guests to you, starting at the far end of the table. In the role of Joëlle Pujol, the bourgeoise daughter of a bourgeois famille, Judith Godrèche. We've seen Judith many times at the festival, on screen, but I believe this is her first time here. We're thrilled to have her with us. Thank you for coming. Also a familiar face, at least in the screening rooms. We're very grateful to have him back. The film's director, François Ozon. And a true goddess of the cinema, Catherine Deneuve. Catherine, it's a huge honor to have you here. Thank you. I don't know if you're as intimidated as I am, but I'll break the ice. The film has such a striking look, and I wanted to ask the two ladies if they were involved in their looks, in their costumes. Catherine, I can't imagine that the costumes that you wear came out of your wardrobe from the 1970s, whereas Judith's, they might have been, Judith, you were wearing clothes that we could have imagined Catherine wearing back then.
Yeah, it's true. No, they don't come out of my closet. We had a wonderful lady to work on the look of the film with François and the style and the hairstyle. So it's everything sort of build up. You don't arrive all of a sudden, with the complete suit, the complete style of the. It took a few weeks, and it's very interesting, I think, for the actors to have a lot of try of clothes and meetings, because it's sort of build up, and at the end, when it's the first day of shooting, you have the impression you start to have at least physically the character of the person you're supposed to play.
Have you ever acted on screen in curlers before?
In what?
In curlers.
I might have, but not that way.
Judith, was the look of your hair, the Farrah Fawcett look, was that your idea?
No, François really knew what he wanted, and so I just had to follow his ideas. But I think that what is really interesting about this movie should be called a period piece, since it's not happening right now. But I think that when the movie starts, and step by step you start to forget that it's a period piece, and it doesn't really play as a period piece, and you kind of forget that they're wearing those costumes that are not from now.
Well, let me segue from that, François, and ask you, did you ever think of updating this, setting it in the present time? And if not, then why? What was your reasons for keeping it in the 70s?
I think for me it was important to keep that in the 70s because I wanted to keep a distance, and I wanted to make a comedy, actually. I didn't want to make a drama, because if it could have happened today with the cries in France especially, we wouldn't have the same sense of humor. So I prefer to let the story during the 70s and to keep this distance.
Thank you. I'll open the question up to the floor now. If you have questions, please raise your hand. When you get the mic, stand up and tell us who you are.
Mélanie Boissonneau de la radio, de Radio-Canada. Donc, pour les Canadiens, les francophones, les Québécois, je me demandais, M. Ozon, d'avoir cette scène où valsent Catherine Deneuve et Gérard Depardieu ensemble. Moi, à ce moment-là...
C'est pas une valse, hein?
Non, en fait, c'est un slow,
Oui.
effectivement, un slow. Est-ce que vous aviez l'impression, justement, d'avoir l'expression deux monstres sacrés, comme ça, à l'écran, et de les voir danser ensemble?
I answer in French or in English?
En français.
Ah non, moi je vais pas me traduire moi-même. Bon, vous traduirez pour moi. Non, c'est vrai que c'était un plaisir de voir Catherine et Gérard ensemble. En fait, on s'en est pas vraiment rendu compte au moment du tournage parce que c'était assez compliqué. Gérard avait un peu picolé ce jour-là, il connaissait pas très bien la chorégraphie. On a été obligé de faire des retakes, donc moi j'étais pas très content parce que j'avais l'impression que la scène était ratée. Et dès qu'on a vu les rushs, dès qu'on a vu ça monter, on s'est rendu compte qu'il y avait quelque chose de magique. Et effectivement, tout est dans le regard de Catherine et Gérard. On sentait la tendresse entre eux. Et l'important, c'était pas que la chorégraphie soit parfaite, mais qu'il y ait cette alchimie qui passe entre deux. Et je pense qu'on le ressent vraiment dans la scène. Mais c'est des choses, des fois, qu'on ne ressent pas forcément au moment du tournage et qu'on se ressent beaucoup plus tard au moment du montage.
Moi, je vais traduire, excusez-moi.
Oui.
Je vais
Mener la valse, c'est beaucoup dire, mais enfin, disons que comme je connais bien Gérard et qu'on a souvent travaillé ensemble, donc je sais m'adapter à lui et lui à moi, donc voilà, mais il est toujours tellement disponible et tellement généreux comme acteur, c'est vraiment un plaisir. Et même cette scène qui était difficile à tourner, parce que c'était un endroit vrai, petit, avec beaucoup de monde, beaucoup de chaleur, beaucoup de bruit, tout ça. Même malgré ces conditions-là, Gérard, qui s'était remonté comme ça un peu parce qu'il avait il a toujours besoin d'être en forme et des fois il faut qu'il cède un petit peu. C'était absolument adorable. Et il était tellement gai sur ce tournage. Ah oui, je crois que ça lui a fait vraiment beaucoup de bien.
The question was for François Ozon. Seeing Catherine Deneuve and Gérard Depardieu dance the slow dance, did he have the impression of having on set two legends of the cinema? And François responds that yes, it was a huge pleasure to see them together. It wasn't such a pleasure actually the day of shooting because Gérard had a few drinks beforehand to get himself ready, and so the choreography really wasn't working, and he had the impression, in fact, he was very unhappy. He left the set convinced that the scene was a failure, that it wouldn't work, and it was only when he was watching the rushes and then in the editing room that he realized how magical the scene was, how it worked, that something was really happening in their gaze and the sense of tenderness between them. They'd worked together before, and you really sense this chemistry, this bond. As far Catherine added that Gérard, in fact, because he needed Dutch courage, let's say, he wasn't in a condition to do much dancing. The question then was, well, did you lead? And no, you don't. It wasn't that Gérard needed that, but it's true that it was very difficult to shoot. Despite that, it was a crowded set. The set was very small. We were shooting on that real location, very small, huge number of people there, and so it was difficult to do. But nonetheless, Gérard was adorable in that scene. In fact, during the entire shoot, he was very happy. I think that this film did him a lot of good. Other questions? Yes, please.
This is Linda from Fairchild TV of Toronto. This is the question for Judith. After you have worked with Kathleen and Gérard, what did you learn from these two biggest stars on earth? Thank you.
Well, it's my third film with Gérard, and we're friends. So it was really, I really, each time that I do a movie with Gérard, I feel like it's family. Even if I haven't seen him for a while, I always feel like something good happening to me when I see him. He has this kind of warmness, and he's very generous. You know, he can be pretty vulgar, but in a poetic way. It's kind of funny because even if it's, you know, whatever he does, even if sometimes he doesn't really mean what he says, or it's kind of like, it's always, he's a bit like a child. It has something very, you know, whatever he does, it's pretty harmless. Even if sometimes it can hurt, it's pretty harmless. He doesn't really say things with the intention of hurting, or and when he jokes, he's really funny. He has a way of like, so for me, it's always a pleasure, even if sometimes when I work with him, I can't work because I'm laughing, and I just I can't stop laughing, and you know, sometimes it's difficult when someone is like that because you can't really work with him. So you know, I was very happy to work with him, and it was like a really good thing when I heard I was going to work with him again. And Catherine, I was pretty impressed. I've never met her before, so I was very impressed, and because she's such a strong figure as an actress, as a mother, as a woman, you know. So she really surprised me in a way that she's nothing that you really expect her to be, because she's everything but with such a natural way of being that it's not like you suppose, you know, like you made a whole thing about how she could be because of what she is, and then she's so natural, and she's in life. She's a real woman in life, you know, which is really nice for such a beautiful woman with the movies she made. She stays just a woman in life, you know. What? You know, she's like, you can, you know, she has fun.
Catherine, Judith just mentioned some of the roles you've excelled at. You've graced the banknotes of France, but seeing this film, it struck me, you would be a perfect politician. Were you ever tempted?
Never. No. You know, I know that politicians have got to be good actors sometimes, but it's not sure that good actors could be good politicians.
Did you have any politicians in mind when you were shooting this role?
No, and nothing I would mention anyway. It's a very touchy. No. I thought about it. I knew I would be asked that question, and I decided that I wouldn't answer because every little thing would be used, you know, not against me, but I think it would be against a lot of things that I don't want to get involved, you know. So it's no comment about the political. Anyway, it's people you don't even know, I think, over here. It's people from the 70s.